Hey everybody, welcome back to Trauma Informed Tuesdays. I'm Nicole Miles, owner and founder of Miles to Go Speaking and Consulting, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about how to be trauma informed, especially within our organizations. So if you've been following along, you know that there are 6 pillars of trauma informed practices. And the first pillar is safety, and that's the one we're going to talk about for a few minutes today. Why is it the first pillar? Because without it, we can't have the rest of this. And remember, overall in our trauma-informed practice, our goal is to avoid re-traumatization. It is not to have a sharing circle. It is not to create a situation where work is like therapy. We are trying to avoid re-traumatization for our employees, and as employees, we are trying to avoid being re-traumatized because we are better at work when we are working at our best, and we are working at our best when we have the best mental wellness. So what does safety actually look like inside of our workplace? This does mean both physical and psychological safety, and often those things go hand in hand. So in order to illustrate this, I thought I would tell you a story about what happened to me years and years ago before I knew anything about trauma-informed practices. I worked for an organization where I'd been really quite successful, and I'd worked on a very large project. It had launched well, and as a result, I had been given more responsibilities. As happens when you do well, you get a promotion, you get more responsibility. And I was assigned a new office in a new area of the organization at the time. So really great, exciting. I was going to be in a different space. But when I moved into the office, I have mentioned before, I'm claustrophobic. I am claustrophobic to the point where it is a phobia for me. It's a huge problem. That my brain can't handle constriction. And this was a very small office with only one orientation possible that made it so that if someone came into my office, they were blocking my exit. And it was extremely stressful for me. I wasn't going to be productive in that space, and I knew it, and I said something about it. So when we want to be trauma informed, one of the things that you have to know is that if you are the employee in trauma-informed practice, you need to be able to advocate for yourself. Also, if you are the employer, the supervisor, the manager, you must be receptive to the idea that a trauma-informed practice means we're asking the question, what happened to you, and not what's wrong with you. And unfortunately, in my situation, that is not how it was responded to. I was responded to as if I was making a problem about the size of this office. I was making a problem about its location. I didn't like the change. It was not received as if this is a thing that limits my capabilities, which were high for the company. I had done well for the organization. This was viewed as I was creating a problem. I was creating drama. As a result, there were all kinds of breakdowns of communication. I couldn't feel physically safe in that space, but I also couldn't feel psychologically safe anymore because I knew that what happened was as soon as I advocated for myself in a way that people did not necessarily understand what the claustrophobia actually did for me, it was not well received. That was, I didn't end up quitting over that, but I can say that it was the beginning of my disconnection from that organization, that my needs weren't being able to be met there, that they weren't, if I had needs, they weren't well received, no matter how productive or successful I'd been for the organization. And so what that means from a safety standpoint, if you are trying to be an organization who's trauma informed, is that you have to listen with the reception of not how I see this situation, but how someone else is experiencing this situation, and look at options for rectifying it. In my case, that wasn't the only office I could have gone to. It wasn't the only setting that I could have worked in. And being engaged in a conversation about how to solve that problem would have been the way for it to be a trauma-informed approach. If we want to be successful in our organizations, we have to start approaching people and understanding that their experiences inform how they respond. And if we want healthy, high-functioning individuals, which we all do, and if we want to be high-functioning, healthy individuals, we need to work in spaces where we can feel both psychologically and physically safe. So that's what I've got for you today, and I hope that you come back next week. So long.